Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. I'm here with my buddy, the great Brent Stover, sitting to my immediate right from CBS Sports. Talking to us now is a guy who is easily my favorite guest in the history of this program. He's an original gangster, an OG, as the kids call him. He's been around for a while on the show. And this guy is, he's the head of the sports book at the Wynn Casino in Las Vegas. This guy knows what he's talking about. A real live De Niro in casino, but he does it legitimately. He does it with style. He does it with grace. I'm talking about my buddy, the great John Avello. John, welcome to the show.
Hello, Artie. How are you? Don't get me in any trouble tonight, okay?
Okay, my first question. Any gay people work for you over there?
I hope so.
Of course. And you wouldn't mind if they did. It's, hopefully this kid will learn from his mistakes. But I tell you what, John, I'm being heralded as a great hard-hitting 60 Minutes type reporter.
I look forward to seeing you on the show.
Well, honestly, since we've been talking, I haven't made it out to Vegas, but since we've been talking on the phone, but I can't wait to enjoy myself with you out there the first time I can. But let's talk a little Super Bowl. Were you surprised, first of all, with what happened?
I was surprised at the way the 49ers played the first half. They were sloppy, and
they were.
During the Super Bowl, there's a lot that gets you pumped up. You got Jennifer Hudson. You got Alicia Keys.
Right.
That's the thing about America. Everything's got you going in the right direction. So when you hit the field, it's got to be all cylinders go.
Right.
And for some reason, the 49ers, they didn't feel it. It wasn't working for them. It took a while to get going, and unfortunately, that cost them the game.
Yeah, if you bet the Niners and laid the points, what did you end up at? 3.5? What did you end up at there?
Oh, no. Here's the way the game was bet. We opened the game 5. Now, remember, when the Patriots were playing the Ravens a couple Sundays ago,
right, the
Ravens had that game pretty much sewed up with about 5 minutes to go. The Ravens were up a couple touchdowns, had the ball. And at that time, I hung the line up. I hung it, the 49ers a 5-point favorite and the total 49.5.
Okay.
So the game got bet down over the next couple of days to 4.5 and then 4. We settled at 4 for, 10 days or so. No movement whatsoever.
Right.
And then the day of the game, we got pushed back to 4.5, and the total got pushed back up to like 48.5. So we did see some late 49er money, but great betting interest. It was the game, both sides of the game, the money lines, the propositions, and I think I said we'd probably get a record handle out of it. It was just phenomenal, the action on the game.
Yeah, but at 5, I got to tell you, and then whatever it ended up being, I mean, regardless of the line, if you bet the 49ers, it is true, and you can attest this to his age, but Kaepernick, especially that interception he threw to Reed there, he looked confused. He really looked like he was lost out there, you know?
Well, it's a big game. It's a big stage. You can't fault the kid for that.
No, sure. But
he only had a few starts during the year, 7, 8 starts. And the coach was going with him. And one thing about this Kaepernick, he really is. He's a great passer.
Oh man!
And he's a great runner. Now, one thing about his running, you don't want to get in that running mode too much in NFL because the guys on the other side can put you away.
Yeah.
And so you got to be a little bit careful running the ball too much. But I like his passing game. He made some bad. Maybe it wasn't all his fault. They made some bad decisions when they had the ball at the 5-yard line, 1st and goal. I didn't like any of the plays they called. And if they would have ran 4 times, then they would have probably got in one of the 4. But I didn't like any of that play calling at the end of the game.
Sure.
John, what were some of the more interesting bets? The Super Bowl always brings them out. Length of the anthem, results of the coin toss. What were some of the fun ones?
Length of the anthem in particular. I don't think I ever heard that one. Did you have that? How long the national anthem was?
I got to back you up on that because I'll tell you what. We don't do any of that, color to Gatorade and the length of the anthem. We don't do that. In the state of Nevada, it has to be played out on the field. But what we do are these type of bets. Will the game be tied after 0-0?
Right.
Do you know if it was tied after 0-0? Never was. Right?
Never was. No, it was never tied. Yeah.
Never tied. Would the game be exactly decided by 3 points? Oh, yeah. It was decided by 3 points. That cost us a ton of money. We had that at 3.5 to 1.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
This is the one there was a couple other ones that could have. I'll tell you the ones that could have got us, and I'll tell you the one that did get us. Will there be a successful 2-point conversion? That could have got us, but it didn't.
Yeah.
But this is the one that really put our head underwater. Was the will there be at least one safety?
Yeah, those are always rare.
That I got to tell you, Artie. Now listen to this. Last year, if you remember the Giant game, we had to prop up what will be the first score of the game. And It was the safety. So we got double whacked on it because it was the first score of the game.
Oh, that's right.
And it was a safety in the game. We paid out like 6 figures on that.
Oh, my God, that's right. I forgot about that. If the first score of the game is a safety, wow.
Yeah, and so I'm feeling pretty safe this year. I'm feeling safe with the safety. There's not going to be a safety 2 years in a row. And here we go the whole game, and there's no safety.
And that punter,
and then
that's
I
right.
Close timeout, and I said, uh-oh, here we go. This doesn't look good. And the safety happened again, and it cost us a bushel of money again.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and obviously, did you take money on this? Because it just popped into my head. I don't think the Niners ever were in the lead. Is that correct? The Niners were never ahead in the game, right?
Never ahead.
Yeah. So you could bet on that as well, right? I mean, you could.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were never ahead. They were down in the first quarter. They were down like 7-3. Then it was 14-3 at the second quarter. So what was that? 21-6 at the half.
Right.
And then the third quarter they won 17-7. So that got them close. And then the last quarter they won 8-6, but they never had the lead in the game.
That's interesting. I mean, getting away from because I find a guy like you to be as knowledgeable as any coach in the game, and I'm just curious if you had to start one franchise around one of those two quarterbacks, who do you take at this point, Flacco or Kaepernick?
Joe Flacco has never been bad. From the first season that he started playing, you
consistent.
Could see the promise in the guy.
Right.
So I think he's come a long way, and I think he's very confident quarterback. I think I'd have to go with him. I think the other guy's got a much bigger upside, but I'd have to go with the proven guy, and he's proven himself in the NFL. So if I had to take one of the two, I think I'd probably go with him. Although the other guy gives you just so much more, offense and weapons, and so it'd be hard to pass on him too.
Absolutely.
Did you guys put out odds yet for next year? Did that happen yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that up for about 3 weeks now.
Wow. Who do you have? Who are the top 2 or 3?
Your top. There's no standout team. The Patriots are 7-1 as the favorite. There's a couple other teams in that group also. The team that's gotten a little play early is the Seattle team. They opened up 14-1. They've been bet down to 11. The people are seeing how they finished up the year and just think they're going to continue that next year. We'll see, because I think that division really is tough next year. The Seattle's in there. I think the Rams are going to be an improved team next year.
Sure.
49ers. So that's going to be a real tough division next year.
Yeah, why do you think the Pats always get love? I mean, they always get love. They're getting older. Do you just think they're so popular, and Brady is so popular, just a lot of, just money goes that way? It seems like they're always right there every year.
Yeah, because they always are right there.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're not what they were 8 years ago to me, but they're just, in a parity-type league, I think there's other teams that could get ahead of them, but every year they're favored.
Well, let's face it. The coach has got to be one of the top NFL coaches of all time.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good point. Sure.
And the quarterback is one of the top quarterbacks ever to play in the league, and you still have both of those guys. One thing about this Patriot team, I think the system is phenomenal. It doesn't matter. They shove guys in and out of there because if a player gets too big, is in asking for too much money, he's gone, because the only guy on that team that really gets paid is the quarterback.
Right.
And so they continue to bring in new guys and be able to just mesh together with the, whatever they have, they make it work. And that just shows you how good of an organization they are. And so every time I put them up to win the Super Bowl, I just figure they're going to be in the playoffs and they're going to be, one of your top 2 or 3 seeds. So it's hard to make them much higher than a 7-1 favorite.
Yeah.
In a normal week in the regular season, what's your biggest challenge leading up to Sunday? And now I guess we have the Thursday and, of course, Sunday, Monday. But what's the biggest challenge when you're trying to set these?
Well, I put up the numbers on Sunday afternoon. And so at that point, I'm trying to get in the customers' heads, where this number might go. Because when I put up my number, it's a raw number. It's based on power figures, injuries, things of that nature. So my biggest challenge is trying to hold a number, because in my business, anytime you're moving a number, you're losing money. Because moving a number opens you up for, sides and middles and those type of things, which are bookmakers' nightmares. And so for me, it's trying to get the most action. I don't care which side it's on or both sides, but at a solid number instead of having to move 1 point, 2 points sometimes. To me, that's disastrous to have to do that.
So you sort of judge yourself, I guess, on that, right? Like you judge your performance on how much each line moves throughout the week.
Yeah, I do. And then I also question myself when, we're getting our butts kicked for a couple weeks in a row, and I start to question myself and say, where are you going wrong here? Why is your number bad? And because that happened a lot this year. I got to tell you, the players had a really good year, one of the better years I've seen. We usually win 3 weeks out of every 4. They get the 4th one. They were beating us 3 out of 4 this year. So they had a phenomenal year, and I was scratching my head a lot and questioning myself a lot. So it's, in this business, I'll tell you, it'll make you question yourself a lot of times during the course of a year.
Hey, John, in these crazy prop bets, whatever you want to call them, what can you recall one particular bet that really stands out as being insanely surprising to you, like maybe under, over, and field goals or safeties or something like that? Is there one game, one particular quarter where you went, my God, I just didn't see that coming?
Well, I could tell you one that was really interesting that we had a ton of money on, and it kind of went against us.
Right.
And this was a great prop we put up. The prop was, will David Akers miss a field goal? and we put up the no at you had to lay $1.60 to win 100.
Right.
Bet the no, but they bet that all the way up to like 230 or 240. So it was a big decision for us, that prop. And so here's David Akers out on the field for his field goal, and he misses it. And I'm saying, wow, that's a good one for us.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I see something yellow on the ground there.
Oh, yeah.
I said, that's going to negate that. And so we never got a chance to miss it. I think he might have had one more kick after that, but he didn't miss one. So there was a few of those during the course of the day. We put up a prop too, and sometimes we get a little stupid, guys. We put up, will there be a horse collar tackle? And they bet no, of course, on that, and that never materialized either. So sometimes we just outthink ourselves or just get a little too crazy with these props.
I know I've asked you this before. I think I have, but just to reiterate for some of the newer fans, and just because I forgot for some reason, I apologize. Do you take money on the coin toss over there?
Well, the Gaming Commission told us once, and then I'm going back a few years, that they didn't want us to do that anymore. But There's kind of been a change of heart in town. I've noticed a few places actually did put it up this year. So I didn't put it up, but I put up something that's kind of like a coin toss, but not. And the way the prop reads, it says, who will run the first play from the line of scrimmage?
Wow.
And what makes that an interesting prop is,
yes, it's cool.
First of all, if you decide to defer the ball to the other team, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to run the first play, because they could run the kickback or they could fumble.
Right.
And so it has a little more twist to it. more than. But the coin flip sometimes. I know some of the guys around town that put it up had really small juice on it, like $1.02 or $1.03, and that might be the best bet of the whole Super Bowl. Because let's face it, some of this stuff's just 50-50, and if you can lay less juice, why not?
Do you guys normally put odds on a defensive back scoring the first touchdown of the game, like on a pick six?
Well, I actually had a prop up on, just not a person to score a touchdown, but, a guy to get an interception. We had a prop up with Ed Reed would have an interception, and he did.
There you go.
And that was, yep. And then we, and then we had some other defensive players up, total sacks and total tackles and assists, and so if you name it, we had it up there. Really, I mean, we didn't miss much. And what made it so difficult this year to make money on the props is when you look at the game, it was a high-scoring game, and it was a lot of receptions, and it was just a lot of yards by a lot of players. And so when our customers come in on the weekend, they like to bet over on those type of things, and that's why the props were a little more difficult this year to make money on.